The True Path Entrepreneur Group Business Coaching Mastermind Program is open for enrollment now. Click the link that you see here to learn more all about it. And if you feel called, book a one-on-one exploratory call with me to learn how you can start and grow your transformational coaching, healing, psychedelic therapy, or spiritual business in 2025. The world needs you and your unique medicine. Don't wait another year to start getting clients and making a difference in the lives of others. The world needs you now. Fill out the application, and I look forward to speaking to you. The psychedelic revolution is here. If you want to integrate your visionary experiences into your purpose, get clear on your entrepreneurial path, and help people while you do what you love, then this podcast is for you. Welcome to The Psychedelic Entrepreneur, Medicine for These Times. I'm your host, Beth Weinstein. I'm a spiritual business coach, 3-time entrepreneur, and a lifelong student of psychedelics and sacred plant medicines. You carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times. This podcast will help you to share your medicine so you can create transformation in the world. Listen in on conversations with psychedelic leaders, changemakers, and conscious entrepreneurs who are living proof that a better world is possible when you follow your heart and live in alignment with your soul. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Medicine for These Times. I am so honored to be speaking with my current group mastermind program client, Helen Knight, who has been in the program for 11 months now. I think we only have about a month left, a little over a month. Helen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
So good to have my clients. It's like I've known you and there's always more. And that's what I love doing these interviews for. And I also get to highlight your amazing work and share about your experience inside of the mastermind program. So I'll tell people a little bit about you and then I'll, ask you to share. So Helen is a medicine woman, womb healer, a womb awakener, healer, and Reiki master and teacher. Part of her healing work is helping highly sensitive people and empaths to know that their sensitivity is a gift, not a curse. As a medicine woman, she leads plant medicine ceremony retreats so that people can heal and learn to simply love being themselves. She's also a womb awakener, which doesn't sound very sexy until you learn that the womb is a woman's portal to her powerful, magnetic, divine, feminine essence. Helen is all about getting women reconnected to their wombs and bodies so that they can tap into their own treasure chest full of their power, love, pleasure, passion, intuition, magnetism, voice, creativity, and so much more. The time has come to access the portal that lays within the womb, giving women access to their divine feminine power. Here's to the rise of the sacred feminine. And it's funny because just about an hour ago, I was on a call with another client who had mentioned her womb. And I was like, here you are, creating with your womb. And it's this work that you're doing has been gaining more traction, kind of coming up more and more. I personally started doing womb work in, I think it was like 2016 or 17-ish. And it was life-changing. So Helen, I want to hear your story. What got you first into the work that you do now, and also the work that you've been doing previously before you came to the mastermind? What brought you on your path?
What brought me on my path? I was living in Chile in my 20s and early 30s, and I got sick. I was exhausted. I had to take a nap every day. I was working with kids, teaching English as a second language. And, I was 33, felt like I was going on 93. And I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and no one could really help me. No one could figure out what was going on. And in Chile, Reiki's really big. And I received Reiki there. And then when I moved to Australia, I received more Reiki and then started studying it. And then my whole spiritual path opened up. And I studied Reiki. It really helped me. And then I was guided to move to Boulder, Colorado. And that's where I started my path as a healer. And so as I developed myself as a healer, found that I was working with all these highly sensitive people and discovered I was one too. And so that carried on for about 12 years. And then the plant medicines started calling me. And so it started with ceremonial cacao, a couple years of leading cacao ceremonies, and then the psilocybin called me, and to add that in there. And so I started leading psilocybin with cacao ceremonies in, I think, 2020. And carried on that, just saw the huge shifts and changes that can happen within people quickly. And then in last year, about a year ago, it was the medicine, the psilocybin, that invited me to step into this new realm of helping women awaken to this powerful portal that we walk around with, and most of us are disconnected from, our womb. Yeah.
Wow. I would love to hear a little bit more about that part. Was it the medicine like literally showed you this, or had you already been studying it a little bit? Had you learned it from others?
I had been given a book called Womb Awakening, which was about this fat. And I just was like, oh my God, I'm never going to read this book ever. And there was a little message that I got before I was going to go do ceremony that was like, start listening to this book, see if it's on Audible. And so I started listening to it, and was fascinated. Like it's like this black curtain that has been in front of us was lifted. And it just answered so many of my questions of why we women are in the position that we're in this patriarchal system. And then I went into ceremony, and then the invitation came in, and I was like, oh, sign me up. And I had already, way back when I was living in the outback in Australia, again, I was just beginning on my path, I had a reading, and the gentleman said, Mother Mary is inviting you to work with her, if you would like, for the emancipation of women, which I didn't even really quite know what that meant. But I was like, emancipation of women, yes, sign me up, where? And so I had to do this ritual. I don't remember what it was, but that was, that was 2008. That was years ago. And I feel like only now is it like really coming into fruition, this past year. So it's exciting.
Oh my God, I love those kind of stories. It's like a vision quest. Like, oh wow, now it's coming true. It's manifesting. Beautiful. So when I met you, it was, I guess, about a year ago, or maybe 11, 12 months ago. What is it that you were doing? And then what did you come to the mastermind to do that you weren't already doing? Because you were already, like you said, the Reiki, the highly sensitive work. Yeah. But what was it that called you to come to the group mastermind program?
This pivot. I had been doing, I've been working as a healer. I had been working as a medicine woman, and I was quite burned out. I mean, our leading ceremony is fabulous, and it's a lot of responsibility, and it's also very, takes a lot of energy. And when I met you, I was rock bottom. Like, I was like, oh my God, I cannot keep doing this. I just can't. My body can't maintain it. I love it, but no. But I'm like, I'm a healer. I'm a medicine woman. If I'm not doing this, what am I supposed to be doing? And then that's when the guidance came in around the womb awakening. But I was like, all right, well, how do I do that? Like, how do I shift the way I've been doing my healing work? How do I do it? And you showed up. Magically, you appeared in my email. I didn't even know who you were. And I just read it, and I went to your website. I signed up for a discovery call. I go very intuitively with things, and I connected with you. And I was like, yep, I like her. Okay, where do I sign up? Done. Because I just heard, I wanted that support. I've had lots of business coaches, lots. And, I've been doing this for 15 years. And so I've never been in an entire year. This is my first time of being in a group and for an entire year. And it's just been so supportive and amazing the way that you have taught. And I'm going to get tears. It's just really, I felt so supported. You're just always there to support and share and be the devil's advocate when needed. Kick you in the bum. You kicked me in the bum. That was a good one. Which one? I
don't even remember.
That was when you called me out on what are you doing with your time? Because I was like, I don't have time to make this program, right? So I've made my 6-month program. I had a client who was interested, and then I made this online program in probably, maybe from start to finish, 24 hours. And here I was like, I don't know how to do it, and procrastinating, and you kicked me in the bum gently, and it's what I needed. I know. Yeah.
Gently. And you've gotten clients in it.
Yeah. I've got 4 women enrolled at the moment and ready to bring on some more. Yeah.
With grace and ease too, by the way.
Yes. Lots of grace and ease. That's the mantra.
I love this. I love this story. Thank you so much. And I'm like, did I kick you in the butt? Yeah, but it's, as a coach, and you know this as well as you work with clients and as you are working with these women, helping them awaken to their innate power and, awaken their wombs. It's like we have to be able to help each other and guide each other with just these little blind spots. It's not because I don't think I do any super hard kicking in the butt, but it's kind of just blind spot, reality check, someone to have you stop in your tracks and say oh yeah. Mm-hmm. What am I doing? Oh, and coming up against beliefs or patterns or programs or even just, our history of the way of the world, right? We're kind of like your work, we're rewriting a lot of the ways that we be. And it's deep. It's not very easy to just let go of one way and step into a new way.
Right.
So let's hear about what this program is. What is now your main offerings? And because, you were doing a lot of, I think, more single session work and then, of course, the medicine work. And now you've added a few things and you run, different kinds of retreats. And so tell us a little bit about this program that you offer now.
Yeah. I'm loving it. So it's a 6-month program, Divine Feminine Reclamation. And as you name them there in the beginning, right, our womb is where our power is, our emotions, which guide us. And again, so many women, people in general, numb out their emotions. But if we can get in touch with our emotions, they really can be a guiding force for us. It's our first and second chakras where our abundance lies. And intuition, oftentimes we're so taught, yes, intuition is third eye, but I also like to say it's actually, and again, this is a fact, it's our clitoris is actually connected with our third eye. And so it's just getting in touch with, there's just so much there in our womb. It's a treasure. It's a trove of treasures. And as I say, before a year and a half ago, I didn't know any of this stuff. And now that I've been doing obviously my own womb awakening as well, you got to do a lot of womb healing because there's so much sexual trauma. There's body shame. I mean, so many women have body shame. There's been objectification, sexualization, that we've all received as women, just being in this culture. So there's a lot of healing that has to happen. So a lot of TLC, a lot of gentleness with that, and really meeting the women wherever they are, because you've got people that come from they were raised religiously, which brings a whole different set of dynamics. There are some people that haven't been sexually abused, which is like, yay, but it's a big one. So it's healing the trauma. It's, de-armoring the womb so that we can get in there. And to get to the womb, I always say it's also through the body. And as I say, so many women have body shame, just not even just genitalia, it's the whole body. So it's learning to love the body and listen to the body. So it's programs with, it's healing sessions, it's support during the week. I bring medicine in, learning how to microdose, cacao ceremony. Some people already know about microdosing, so rapé is another option, rapé or hape, depending on the sacred tobacco. So, yeah, those are some of the things.
I'm so glad you're doing this work because it's, when I first started hearing about it and you just mentioned it, even if someone thinks they don't have sexual trauma or anything that happened to them, it is in our collective. We are carrying it as women. We cannot separate ourselves from thousands of years, right? Like thousands of years of God knows what happened, long ago. And, we all see is happening around us. So when I heard that, that was actually so impactful to think about, like, wow, wait a second. It's like the collective womb too. So thank you. And I just want to point out, so, you've come from this background doing individual sessions and Reiki and working with highly sensitives and then the medicine as well. So you had that and then you are pivoting, but you still brought in your work, right? You're still like bringing in these years of experience and the medicine, like you said, and then kind of just expanding. And I think it's really good to point this out because so many people go through this phase of like, what's next or what am I moving into? And it feels like, okay, you're cutting the cords and now you're just going into something totally new. But remember that your journey that you've had, it's what guides you to where you are and you can still integrate it in. So this is such a great example of how you integrate and you're not just like cutting all the cords, but
oh my goodness, no.
Yeah. But then, maybe there will be a day where this takes off so much that maybe a part of that, maybe the single sessions just kind of die down. Who knows?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I wanted to ask a little bit about this womb awakening work. Why is it that women are coming to you for this? Like, what is the main driver that brings someone to want to do this? Like, what are they looking for and where are they at now?
I think there's a big one of so many women put everybody else first. Put everybody's needs first. The people pleasing thing, taking care of, making sure everyone else is happy. Saying yes when really their plate is already this high and there's no more space, but I don't want to let them down, or it's my role or it's my duty. And then of course, then resentment builds up. So it's really helping women say yes to themselves and that they matter. That's a big one. Like, I matter. And, finding their voice, because that's the other part. Our clitoris is attached to our intuition. Our voice is connected to our womb. So it's like so women are just like, I'm not being heard. And it's like, okay, well, we've got to work with the womb first. The womb healing, womb activation, reconnect to it, and then the voice will come. So it's the voice. It's finding tapping into, again, that I already talked about it, but the healing the body shame, the trauma, because again, then they can access more. I have one client is sort of like, what is her, she wants to know what her we've been told what success is, but she's like, is that what success is? I feel like I have that, but I don't know if I feel successful, right? So I have another one who's after ceremony this summer with me. She's like, I'm birthing a new version of me, and I don't know. I've done it alone so much. I don't want to do it alone anymore. Mm-hmm. And I need help birthing myself. I don't even know who's going to pop out, but I need some hand holding. Yeah. So these are some of the things. Yeah.
Yeah. And think about how many women are out there giving birth, like literal birth to a newborn baby by themselves. It's not really done anymore, period. And I don't think it ever was, period. You know, there were always at least other women around, right? Like we were doing this in communities. So it's interesting, you know, that she said that. It's like, okay, I've done this alone for so long, and then now it's time for support. And I do, you know, it's like we are moving into the age of Aquarius, or supposedly we have already moved. I mean, there's different arguments over that, but we all know that this vibration is changing from the individual way of me, and everybody fends for themselves and competition. And we're moving into this newer paradigm of doing it together for the we, you know, and it's like we are literal relational beings that cannot live without one another. It's interdependence. And this is so big for a lot of, especially women who tend to, you know, give more than receive, even the irony of that, because it's supposedly feminine is receiving, but so many women just put, you know, the children first or the partners first, or, you know, they're juggling family, children, career, and then the duties, you know, the traditional duties. And it's really a lot of imbalance, which I think is as above, so below what we're seeing in this kind of collective. A lot of people referring to the patriarchy, you know, and it's like, well, is it that it's not that men are bad people, it's that there's this deeper, like, toxic, you know, the toxic masculine, or this, which I don't even like to use that terminology, but this imbalance. It's so interesting you bring this up. So yeah, do you want to speak?
That's another one about receiving. Speak to this. I always love to ask, like, in a ceremony in a group, I'm like, okay, raise your hand if you're an awesome receiver. Nobody. And as you say, that's the feminine, is to receive support. Like, I got a client right now. We're working with. She's just going like this. She's in the program, and she's. The shifts and the changes she's making, and she holds these circles, women's circles, and, you know, the women are just like, thank you, and just beyond. And she's like, I had a really hard time receiving, and she deflected, which is what we women often do. And I just said, simply say thank you. And I said, take that compliment, take that energy, and let it just sprinkle through you like gold stars, and particularly nourish your womb and yoni. Just let it nourish you. Just let it, that's all you have to. She's like, oh, so simple. I said, yeah, simple. Just receive. But it's like, it's receiving the support of friends, of a partner, I know I've heard from men that sometimes they're scared to even open the door for women, because then we have the unhealthy feminine. It's like, I can do it by myself, which that's the unhealthy feminine. You know, the independent woman, that's been my big thing. I had to do it all by myself. And now with this womb awakening and the healing, when you start healing that, particularly the men, the women show up, but the men, the way the men have showed up in my life in the past, I would say 6 to 8 months, like never before. Because it's a ripple effect. You make the change within you, and then it ripples out. And then it just allows. And then it allows the men to show up in their masculine. Yeah.
Wow. This is, by the way, this is so on theme with my life right now, too. So on theme. I was literally just talking about it this weekend. Yes. I was like, I am working on receiving more support and from the masculine, just like, and men as human beings, but also the masculine in general. Like, how can I just allow in more support, more receiving, more ease, just because it's like, I think as a society, especially in the Western culture, it's like, we've gotten so imbalanced that so many people, and especially women, I mean, I talk to women constantly that are getting burnt out, overgiving, these career women that have, made it. They've had all the success and done all the, checked all the boxes and raised a family and bought a house and all the things. And they're either burnt or miserable or both, or they're unfulfilled. And like you said, there's a lot of disconnection. There's, this deep, very not even conscious shame on, body shame, disconnection to self. And it's like, we see this in our culture, how imbalanced the masculine and the feminine energies have been. Yeah. It's interesting. How do you think this womb work might affect the entire planet? Like, have you ever thought about this? I'm sure you have, or it's come through ceremonies. Because I've seen it and I've wondered about it, and I think I've actually not read that book, but that was actually the first book I was exposed to as well. And I was like, whoa. But I think she talks about it in there too. But yeah, what is the theory of where we were like in ancient times, maybe, versus like where we are now versus where we could be or where we might be going with this work?
Well, I always love to share, this is an area actually that I work on in the program too, is we women being women in the patriarchal system, we can have a lot of unconscious hate, pain, disdain, anger towards men. Right? Whether we have fabulous men right in our circle or not, and that we had to work with that energy, and that's our inner masculine that we have to heal. And I always like to say to women, right, and I always say to the men, like, this is not male bashing, like it's masculine energy, it's the patriarchy. But before the patriarch existed, the matriarch. And the men were as disgruntled as we are right now, right? And that's sort of what flipped it. And where we're going, this is where I feel like the womb awakening is playing a part, is to bring the two together. Unity, not one over the other. Now it's interconnected. But we women have to like that. Men have to do their work, but we women have to do our work, right? Do it together. But part of that is we've got to get connected to our womb, which, the womb cosmology existed before the patriarchy. The divine feminine has basically been erased. Pretty much. She's not anywhere. Okay, yes, we've made some leaps and bounds compared to maybe where our moms were or what, but we got a long way to go. But it's not going to come from the government or someone, out there. We have to do it. And we have to say, enough. And we have to say, raising our hand, yes, I'd like support. Yes, I'd like to receive, right? We have to do the work. And so, but I've started doing women's retreats as well with the plant medicine, because when we like in your program, when we do it collectively, when we do it together, alchemy happens, particularly with women. Alchemy happens anyway, but that's one of the magical things that happen with women. We get together, the alchemy happens, and things can shift. Like, it doesn't have to be years and years and, therapy for, I've had people say, oh my God, that ceremony was like a year's worth of therapy in 6 hours. I'm just like, yeah. And you come together in a retreat, we can shift it. You really drop. I like to really encourage the women to drop its womb consciousness. Let's access your womb consciousness. Divine, I call it DI, divine intelligence. Everyone's all about AI. Let's tap into the DI.
Yep. The real intelligence.
Yes.
Wow. Super powerful. And it's true. I really love what you said about it's not the government. No one's going to come and like give it to you or save you. I mean, if anything, that's probably what went wrong in the first place, right? It's like, I really do look to the turning of the ages as like, this is a sign, we have to come inside and realize it's each and every one of us. This is why the tagline for all my work is you are the medicine. It's like, it's not, and even the plants, as much as I love them, they're great collaborators. Like this is great medicine to work with, to make changes. And I agree. I get tons of, therapy, it's like therapy in one ceremony, and it's from within, it's not someone else like coming and rescuing you or changing our whole society. It's like each and every one of us has to do it. And it's really, it's deep work. And I do believe the more we can come into this, and like you said, it's not about, the hating or, I actually had a complete and total, very clear download about this back in the spring. It was like, oh, we can't just, write off this whole like patriarchy thing. A lot of people talk about like burning it to the ground and letting it crumble. And, what's the one, like, there's this terminology that people go around saying, it's like kill, I forgot what the word is, but it's like a little much where it's like kill the patriarchy. I'm like, we have to actually like do this work to integrate it. Like we have to forgive them. It can't just be like, we hate you, now we're going to like burn you to the ground, because that's just more separation, more division. It's kind of like, it's not, and it's not about hating the men or being angry. It's like seeing all that anger, seeing our feelings, seeing what went wrong, and, working with it, bringing it to the surface, and then doing the work to integrate it in. It's not like, okay, instant forgiveness, but we can't just pretend it's not there or like shun it away. But I think it is our job as women to come into our power, to have, like you mentioned, the voice connected to the womb is so big. So many women are afraid to share their truth, even with the person they're married to. I always say it's not about shouting it on social media in front of millions of people. It's like, are you even sharing what you want with like your best friend or your husband or your kids?
Yeah. And many are. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm curious, you also mentioned doing this work relationally, doing things in groups together, which is why I personally love my mastermind, because I personally, as someone who's also invested in other groups and, trainings and masterminds and working with other coaches, I have done the large majority of it in groups, and I have seen that alchemy that you talk about, how fast things move. I'm curious, what was your experience being inside of the mastermind, not just with the pivot in your business and adding on this new program, but just, coming to a group call or being with other people or, being in this environment of having a place to go to? Like, did you find that it was different than being on one-on-one with a business coach, and what did you like about it?
Yeah, you learn from each other. That's one of the big things, right? I might not say anything on the call, but the other questions or comments or that are asked or you talk about or you address serves us all. So somebody sharing, I'm like, oh, right, taking notes on that one. So say it wasn't on my radar, but through the other people, you learn. And I think it's also that sense of you're not doing it on your own. Like even you've got a business coach, and you in the past you meet every other week, and you have an hour call, and that's it. But when you had there was always you could go to the Facebook group and comment and ask questions, and then sometimes other people would comment. There was the other piece for women is celebration, celebrating each other. So I really like that. You always do wins, and that's really important, is to celebrate each other, because that's another thing that we women don't do very well.
Thank you for pointing that part out, because this is the one where it's like, I remember when I first was encouraged to do that, it was like, what do you mean? And even now, I'm sure you've noticed this, and we've all done it, including myself, when people say like, well, I have a small win, or, well, my win wasn't big enough, or, well, I'm not going to celebrate this because it's just like not special enough, or what. It's like, oh my God, as women have been really like just told to shut up and move on and go take care of other people, when it's like, well, yeah, what about like recognizing how amazing we are?
Yeah.
You know? So good that you brought that up. Now, I'm also curious, because I always love to hear about this. How else do you feel like, not just your business or getting clients, but like, have you noticed your life changing at all since being in the mastermind? And, you know, if so, in which kind of ways? Because I see it in other people, but I always like to know, you know, in what ways do you feel like your life has changed?
I mean, oh my God, my whole life, everything has changed so much this year. Well, again, starting with the new pivot, right? I mean, that was huge. I think learning to, I think I've gotten better with structure and prioritizing with my world, which has helped. I would say I'm in another huge transformation. Like, I'm emerging. Relationship ended, so it's like this new energy is emerging. Just like literally, it's like every month, who am I going to be at the end of the month type thing. I feel like, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's part is the group, but I think it's also the times that we're in. You know, so it's, you know, I definitely look like a different person than I was this time last year.
Wow. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. And let's talk about, you know, where do you envision this going, this work that you're doing, you know, with you have this women's womb awakening, and then you still do the medicine work and some one-on-ones. You know, what do you think the potential is for not just you, but for this womb awakening work? Like, where do you dream of it going in the next, you know, few years? I'm curious.
Well, there's, I think, two areas. Because I feel like my dharma is to fully embody the divine feminine and support that within others. And that includes men. And I have had men in my, I have my co-ed ceremonies, then I started leading the women's ceremonies, which was a new experience. And I really saw the difference of how women could really relax and open up and be more vulnerable when there are no men, even though the men there were just wonderful men. However, the men, I have been approached by a client asking me if I would lead ceremonies for men only. And I thought, oh, wow, that scares me. So I'm going to say yes. And I just, because it's unknown, the men need to access their divine feminine too. They've been affected by the patriarchy in different ways, which of course I'm not, as a woman, I'm not fully aware of all that, but I can help them drop more into their feminine. So I think that's one avenue that's going to start next year. And then the other one is, I feel like this online program, because a bit like when I started as a healer, it was one-on-one, and then I taught Reiki for quite a few years, and then I started leading the ceremonies. I do really enjoy group work, which of course I have in the ceremonies, but I would like to, once I have a bit more, I don't know if experience is right, you maybe run my one-on-one online program for a year or so, then expand it and open up a group one. So having a group, a group program online. So that for the same reason, just like your mastermind, you can serve more people there. You learn from each other. So that's where I'm envisioning. And I'm a Sagittarius like you. I like to travel. So I would like to be able to travel more. Right now I'm between Taos and Boulder. I've been invited to go up to Wyoming to lead ceremony. So yeah.
Anywhere.
Go beyond. Yeah.
Oh, I love this vision of doing this work with men.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, why not, right? Like, find your feminine, tap into your own divine feminine, and, imagine a world where men are in balance with their masculine and their feminine, I mean, I really, like, more and more, I just feel like this is the grand collective issue, is like the lack of balance in these two energies, and I think that's also, I mean, I personally think it's playing out with the weather, like we're seeing so much imbalance with drought where I live, and then wildfires where there's never wildfires, and then torrential downpours and floods and storms where there typically aren't. And it's like imbalance, And if we bring it more into balance as each and every one of us, I really do believe it's all connected. I mean, on such a deep level, this is where it's at. So thank you for doing this with men. And that I can see where that's scary, but also like deeply profound. I love it.
Yeah. Because both the medicines are, that I serve are heart medicines, and right, the mind is the masculine and the heart is the feminine. And that's where we're so disconnected. And every time I'm there, I'm like, all right, are you in your head or can you feel your heart? And I've had many say, I can't feel my heart. I can't feel my heart.
Wow.
And I'm just like, let's work. Let's open. And so, it's a biggie. And then I think we're all in our head way too much.
Yeah, humans.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question, actually, was about how do you find the medicine being supportive with the womb healing work? Like, because you've done retreats, right, that are like womb awakening and medicine together in one. But what do you find that it does, or how does it support? And is it different than just doing medicine, on your own in your living room? Like, how is it different?
Yeah. Good question. It was interesting. I really observed that. My retreats at the moment are 3 days. And so one client said, Friday was like foreplay for the ceremony on Saturday. So we had a cacao ceremony. We had a rapé ceremony on Friday. We had some womb representations that we did. And what I was hearing from these women was a lot of, like, again, heady stuff of like, okay, this is what I'm realizing. This is what I need to change. And I'm thinking, right, to go about and make those changes, these are like really big shifts that need to happen. You could probably spend a long time in therapy doing that, or one-on-one healings. But I'm just going to let the medicine do it tomorrow. In that energy of collective alchemy, you set the group intention. Often that particular one, I got an intention in the middle of the night for one of the participants, which was I surrender to love. And of course that was just like so many of all of us took it on. And oh my gosh, the when you set the intention, the group intention that we are healing the womb and we're connecting to her and we're activating her intelligence, again, the alchemy happens. And so it just shifts, it heals it. And it's the collective. One woman is doing the hard work around a particular theme, a mother wound or sexual trauma. We all get it. we all get that healing. That's the beauty. That's where I'm like, that's why I just love these medicines, because it can shift. And you and I were talking a little bit beforehand about where you have a different preference for medicine. I like the mushrooms because they're more gentle. And with this kind of the work that we're doing, gentle is often is needed. Right? It can be, sledgehammer with this kind of thing, not so much. Some maybe for particular, but I think more gentle, because there's all that armoring because of the hurt and the pain. And so I find that the two medicines are more gentle. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, don't get me wrong, I love my sacred medicines, all of them. I think there's totally a time and a place for all of them, including synthetics, which a lot of people are very like, nah, I won't touch those. I'm like, no, they're great. They've been great in so many ways. I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for them, actually. Okay. But yeah, I totally agree. It's like, to be able to do this in a collective container, we can definitely never separate. It doesn't matter if we're on other sides of the world or sitting together in a ceremony, but sitting in the ceremony has this powerful alchemy effect, especially with these plants and the niños, interconnected by mycelia, right? Mm-hmm. And something that comes up, it's like we're all doing it together, which I do experience with divine medicine as well. Mm-hmm. But I agree, it's, if we have a container where we're held safely and gently to be able to go in, especially with the intention, setting a community intention for the entire weekend. And then, especially if it's all women working with womb, oh my God, like how powerful this could be. I can see where you can take this to like different levels of like, okay, well, let's create something together with our wombs, let's manifest something. So beautiful. I love this. And I'm
doing in March, Inner Womb Bloom. We got the March.
What's it called?
Inner Womb Bloom. Blooming into your magnetic power. Because our womb is magnetic, right? So yeah, whatever.
I didn't realize that's what it was called.
I'm going to make that the collective intention. I like that, Beth.
Especially for the spring.
Yes,
March.
Exactly. It's right by the equinox. Yeah, so the 14th to the 16th. So I don't know exactly what day.
Yeah.
The equinox, 20th.
Okay, I just want to point this out. It's interesting. So it's about, the magnetizing, right? This womb creation and magnetism. I was doing a call with Helen, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and you actually had someone during our call say what? What'd she do? She wrote you and tell the story.
Yes. We were talking about what I wanted, more ease and grace. And I had a client who I didn't even have it on my website yet. It was in progress. And she said, I just booked my ticket to Dallas. Yeah.
So you literally magnetized someone to your retreat that wasn't even being advertised anywhere yet while we were on a call. And the irony, and actually I'm like, I kind of want you to just magnetize everybody to this retreat. That would be great. Just to prove to yourself.
No, but that's what I'm working on. Yes, that is, because it's ease and grace. We've all been taught with the masculine, you got to be doing and you got to be super productive and you got to be busy all the time. Otherwise you're not worthy and you're lazy or whatever. And the feminine's about that being, be in your womb. Yeah. Let it be magnetic. So this is what with the rose dieta that we did with you, which was just, that's what I was practicing, is my womb is magnetic and just drawing it in.
Yeah.
So,
and that's what I say, the mastermind, because I know this as someone who's done both. I've done the over extreme masculine and I've done the feminine, to maybe a little too feminine. Mm-hmm. The way I see it is, which I believe is kind of how the entire universe works, is, we need the support of the masculine.
Absolutely.
The masculine is that support, the structure, the kind of container that then allows the feminine to relax and receive. And that's how I try to explain this all the time, where it's like,
Yes.
in the mastermind, you come in and you get this, there's a certain level of like doing, right? Because that creates the masculine, the steps, the structures, creating an offering, knowing how to communicate and how to message so that you can then do more of the kind of ease, grace, and, what I say, it's like the divine alignment. Like when we have the two into a sacred balance, and we can then relax more into like our intuition, our innate creative powers, really tuning into, like you said, it's like the clitoris, like what feels good, what feels aligned, what is our truth coming through our divine channel. When we have all those running and flowing, it's like, then we have the support of the masculine. That is where, and I have a whole diagram on my mastermind page that shows this. That's where I call it divine abundance, because it's like, oh my God, I just got a client and I didn't even have to do anything. But, you wouldn't have an offering if you didn't have the support of the masculine, where it's like you have it written out, you know how much it's going to cost, you know how to put it together, you know how to run a retreat, and this is what I want to see in all of my clients. This is where it gets to be fun money, like fun calling in clients. Like business can be just fun and exciting and, easeful and graceful. And I see it constantly with my clients. I've seen it constantly with myself. And that's where it's at, is like the more you have these foundational pieces in place, and like next time you go to offer, let's say, a men's program or a group program or some other version of your work, then you have the steps and the structures that you learned in the mastermind to just go do it again and again and again. And it's like the masculine there is then holding you to really be in this deeper kind of, the easeful manifestational power. And that's where I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's where you helped. Like, that's what I'm saying. When you kicked me in the bum gently, because it was, I always thought that I had, I always felt like I was in my masculine too much. Like I had to be more in my feminine. But through the program, I realized, I'm like, what you just said, it's that inner masculine, is that creating that structure and allotting the time. And then you have this amazing, oh my God, the resources that you have in your program of like, all right, okay, because to create a program, it's a lot. And it's like, but you have the steps laid out. So it's like, okay, I'm not doing this on my own. And I go reference and I'm like, okay, this is what I have to create. And I have you were always like really good. Just get the outline. Just get the outline. Give me the outline. And then then I'll help you. And so just to know that's what I had to do. It wasn't about planning it out for 6 months. And then you gave great feedback and made me, I had tweaked it, and just such a great process. As I said, I've had a lot of business coaches, but your process of your secret sauce on how to get to build your program so that it is bound to be a success and wanted was like, it's phenomenal. Yeah, really phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh. And you showed up for yourself. I mean, thank you, first of all. I will receive that, because I know.
There you go. And it's sprinkled down your room.
I know. I'm like, receive. But I also am like, genuinely, like, I know this works because I've proven it to myself, and I've proven it with past clients over and over and over. And I've seen clients get those like miracles. Like, I mean, I have numerous stories where there's just these like, it's unexplainable, but it's because you have a certain level of like the foundational, like that masculine energy, like holding you, and then that's where you can just lean into the intuition, the feminine, the innate power. And that's where, I mean, over and over, I've had these miracle moments with clients where I'm like, how do you explain that? And this is the only way I think it is explained, is like having both in a balance and really tuning in and being willing to show up. A lot of people, they might think they want a business and then they're just like not willing to even like do anything, or they're so stuck in that fear. And this is where it's like, well, get support doing the womb work, get support doing, mindset work that I do. A combination usually is what's really needed. It's like we can't leave out the body, the soul, the heart, the mind, and what's really running the show behind the scenes. But this is where it gets to be fun, that you can just like now call in more and more clients and have it be graceful and easeful and just really like fun. So I can't wait, because we still have like a month and a half left, and I'm sure there will be more miracle stories over that time and, beyond that. So thank you so much for coming here and sharing about this. I'm so glad you're doing this work. I'm like, oh, this is so needed, especially as more and more women are feeling, there's a lot of this narrative around like women feeling like they're under threat, or, certain rights are going to be taken away. And it's like, you know what, if that's bothering you, it's like, this is the deeper work. No one can touch us as women if we know who we are in our truth, in our divine sovereign power, in our light, with our voices, and it's like, again, it's like, I think so many people, at least, here in the Western world lately, are giving away their internal power. And it's like, this is where it's at. We need to come inside and find our own internal power and reclaim it. So check out, we're going to put your links right here in the show notes. I want everybody to check out Helen's Reclamation Program. What was the official title again? Say it.
Divine Feminine Reclamation.
Yeah.
And I call it mentorship because it's very experiential.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially with your background and amazing, amazing work. So, Helen, this has been so great. We'll have your Instagram, your website, your Facebook, and all the places that you can reach out to Helen and find her. And thank you so much for not only doing this work for the planet, for women, for our future, but, trusting in me, trusting in the mastermind, showing up for yourself, allowing it to be easeful and graceful. And you are just such a gift.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't want this to end.
I know. It goes by so quick, right? Thank you so much, Helen.
Okay. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're feeling inspired, I'd appreciate it if you showed your love with a review. And check out my YouTube channel where you can find the video version of this podcast. You can also head to bethaweinstein.com to learn more about me and grab my free business growth trainings. Remember, you carry your own unique medicine, and your medicine is what we need for these times.